So let's go properly on to Coutinho now and talk a little bit more about that deal. So there's talk, obviously, of him having his medical today. He did. It's believed that he's going to be out for 3 weeks with an existing injury.
Yeah, so he didn't quite pass the medical.
No, he had a medical, failed it.
They're not going to hand him back just yet.
A broken Coutinho back to Liverpool now.
But in a way, that kind of clears up some of the maybe concerns that some of the Liverpool fans might have had over him missing the game against Everton. Yeah, he had a bit of touch of transferitis, it was reckoned last week, and he missed the FA Cup game against Everton. But look, if he wasn't fit, he wasn't fit. And Barcelona, they can't count on him for 3 weeks, which means their two most expensive signings,
Coutinho and Dembele.
Yeah. Barely get their careers going at Barcelona because they're injured.
Yeah.
I know Dembele's coming back into the situation now, but it's frightening really when you think that they're so far clear of the league. Real Madrid messing up again last night. Yeah. They're coasting. Their two most expensive players have barely played for them. Yeah. How good are they going to be by the end of the season?
Where do you see Coutinho slotting into that team?
Midfield. Yeah, I think they'll be happy enough with what they have up front with Suarez, Messi, and Dembele when he comes in, and then I think they'll be able to rotate between Iniesta and Coutinho in midfield, and without upsetting the balance of the side too much. But I see him. He's developed for Liverpool over the last maybe 18 months or so into a central player.
You think he's a good buy then for Barcelona?
Oh, he's a fantastic buy. He's just what they need. Yeah, fantastic buy.
Let us know in the comment section if you think he's going to be a good buy. What about Liverpool at this point?
What about them?
How do they recover from losing probably their key player, really? I mean, Salah's been fantastic, but when you think over the course of the last 18 months, or since really Klopp's been there, Coutinho has been the main man.
Well, the question that needs to be answered for Liverpool is whether or not the Coutinho money has already been spent.
Yeah.
Because we know that the deal for Naby Keita was paid for in the summer, but he's not arriving until the summer of 2018. And then you've obviously got the Virgil van Dijk transfer, which went through in this window. And you'd have to think somewhere along the way, if they didn't realise that Coutinho was leaving, there's no way that Van Dijk would have come in this window. So the question for Klopp, for FSG, for the supporters, they're going to be held accountable for this Coutinho transfer in the sense of, well, would we have signed Van Dijk and Keita regardless? And will there be money to spend on Coutinho, or have they just kind of anticipated that Coutinho money and spent it already? I do think they need another attacker. I know that over the weekend, Adam Lallana has been getting a lot of grief from Liverpool supporters saying, how can we expect to replicate what we had with Coutinho, with Lallana playing in there? But for me, Lallana's, he's probably the most, I'm going to get ridiculed for this, but he's probably the most Brazilian style of English footballer there is. 2-footed, quick thinker, very good dribbler. And I think he can carry them through till the end of the season if he stays fit.
Yeah.
That's if they don't get the likes of Lamar in the January transfer window, or Riyad Mahrez, which at this stage we've got no reason to believe that they're going to get those players in the winter transfer window, because Lamar is staying put, Monaco won't sell, and the Mahrez one was proven to be poppycock.
Yeah, it was meant to have his medical today, which was always a very big long shot. I mean, I think all of us thought it wasn't really going to happen. There was talk, I think it came out of France, was it beIN Sport?
Yeah, beIN, yeah.
So nothing's happened there.
So we'll see how Liverpool go forward in the summer.
Yeah. So I mean, that was one of the big talking points of the January transfer window, the big transfer saga. But there's another transfer saga brewing, obviously, and that's over at Manchester City and Arsenal, I guess.
Less a saga, more of a vine. I think this one.
So our Man City correspondent Sam Lee, he published a story last night, basically about how Arsenal and Man City have begun negotiations for Alexis Sanchez's transfer. We're going to go over to him now to explain the latest on the deal.
So Alexis Sanchez could finally be on the verge of joining Manchester City, although the deal isn't done quite yet. What we know is this. On Friday, City approached Arsenal and said, we want to buy Alexis this month, and Arsenal said, OK, let's do business. The big drawback for now, and as is usually the case with big transfers like this, is the actual transfer fee itself. Arsenal want 35 million, City don't quite want to pay that, they want to pay closer to 20. So obviously there's a bit of a difference in the valuation at the moment, but they probably will come to an arrangement sooner rather than later because both parties are keen to get it done this month. Alexis Sanchez, he's desperate to join up with City. City want to get it done, partly because of Gabriel Jesus' injury, and I think Arsenal have resigned to the fact that he's going to go and they see an opportunity to get some money. Goals Arsenal correspondent Chris Wheatley, he's worked with me on this story. He's been speaking to those people close to Alexis and they're very confident that the move's going to happen sooner rather than later. So it just seems to be a case of the two clubs agreeing a fee, and talks will resume on Monday and Tuesday, and we could have an update later in the week.
Alright, so thank you Stanley for that explanation. It seems then like Arsenal are holding out for 35, but Man City don't want to pay that much at this point.
Yeah, and you would think that if Arsenal managed to, get that much of their outlay back for Alexis Sanchez, for a player who clearly doesn't want to be here and will be free in 6 months anyway, you think that kind of represents quite a decent return on what they have. But you know, this is a transfer I think that needs to go through at this stage. They left him out of the team for the FA Cup match, so he wouldn't be cup tied. If City bring him in, they're able to. He's just played in the Europa League, so he will be able to play in the Champions League. They need options up front. I know that people look at Pep Guardiola's team and go, well, he spent so much money on it, they've got so many options. But they're probably still one forward short in the sense that Gabriel Jesus is injured and Sergio Aguero, I know he scored 2 at the weekend again, but he's not the ideal fit for Pep Guardiola's system up front. And I do think that Alexis is. I think he'd come in and he'd take over from Aguero as the first choice forward straight away. City obviously don't want to pay so much. They don't intend to. I
think it's just a classic situation, isn't it? When you first begin negotiations, you have 2 different points of where you want to start and where you want to finish. And they're both starting at the extremes of both ends. Realistically, it's probably going to be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, maybe 27, 28. Yeah. But, you know, our guys, Sam and Chris, for me, 2 of the best journalists in the country for their respective clubs, without a doubt. And the information from the Alexis end is that his people expected to go through sooner rather than later. And from Sam's and then at the City end, they're quite confident of tying up a deal. Not by the end of the window, but maybe even the next few days.
You wrote a piece over the weekend then about how Pep's greatest managerial achievement was putting together this Man City team.
I've got a lot of trouble for that again. Yeah.
Why did you get so much trouble for it?
Because every time that you mention anything to do with Guardiola or Messi or anything, you just get a whole load of Barcelona affiliated people coming at you. You know, so. But I do think that this is it's going to be. I think it is a phenomenal achievement that Guardiola has at the minute. You know, we've had people for the last 10 years going, "Oh, give him a mediocre team and see who gets on with them." Well, when you think of the problems that City had, you know, when Pellegrini was there just by the end of his reign, this is the most mediocre team that Pep Guardiola will ever get his hands on, and look what he's done to them in such a short space of time. So for me, they're going to win the league. They probably look like favourites for the Champions League at this stage. I know there's a lot of football to be played, but let's say that they do turn around at the end of the season and win the quadruple. Well, people are going to stop laughing at the suggestion that this is his greatest ever achievement, and they're going to appreciate that sentiment. So I'm just kind of getting out there in front of the story a few months early, so people might look back and go, "Wow, you know, that Staunton guy, he's you know, a bit of a sage. We should listen to him."
Unless Guardiola's team falls back completely, and then they're coming back around for a completely different reason.
The thing is, though, even if they do fall apart, they'll still win the league.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
Unless someone has an amazing stormer.
I can't see it.
It's hard to see it.
I can't see it.
So one of the biggest, well, the weirdest transfer stories over the weekend was the revelation that Usain Bolt is keen on signing for Manchester United, which came a bit out of the blue, but he's dabbled a bit before with his links with Manchester United, hasn't he? So what do you reckon about that story?
I hate everything about it. I hate everything about this.
Elaborate for our viewers, exactly why.
Alright, so every time that Usain Bolt has something to promote, like a Diamond League or a World Championship, or in this case, a poker tournament in the Caribbean, it makes convenient sense for a journalist to ask him about football. And what's the answer we always get? Oh, I'm going on trial with Borussia Dortmund and then I'm going to join Man United. Ask yourself, why is he joining Borussia Dortmund in the first place? Can I ask you who's his personal sponsor and who Borussia Dortmund's shirt manufacturer are? Okay, so it's a convenient to get him associated with a yellow Puma team for a start, okay? But the whole thing, for me, even if, let's just assume for one fraction of a second that this is serious. It just smacks of a whole sort of this entitlement, this Conor McGregorism that seeped in. Okay, McGregor somehow talked himself into a fight with Floyd Mayweather, and then he proceeds to get his ass handed to him. I think we've got that kind of Dunning-Kruger effect on here with Usain Bolt, where maybe he's looking at football going, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I'm a really good sprinter. Why wouldn't I be a...
Walcott's made a career out of it, you know?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I be a perfectly competent footballer? But look, I've seen Usain Bolt play football. He's not very good. He wouldn't get a game with our boys on a Monday night. And he's trying to go and play for Man United. I hate it. And the only reason it's in the news today is because, like I said, there's a poker tournament on in the Caribbean, and Bolt is the ambassador for that, and he has to promote it.
I can see it happening.
Fake news.
I can see it happening in a fake way. Man United reveal the signing of Manchester United, Usain Bolt. He stands there with his little Usain Bolt number 9 shirt or something, and they wheel him out as like a token signing. He'll never play a game, but I can see that it benefits both of them in a PR sense, doesn't it? Because as you say, people just write about it, you know, it ends up in the news. And
that's it. Every now and again, they just throw it out there and people just hook it up. Oh my God, Usain Bolt's joining Man United. He's not. It's never going to happen.
Thank you so much to those of you who have commented in the section on Facebook today. We're going to read out a few of them now. We've got one from Chadwick who has put, Usain Bolt is dreaming big. I'll sign him in Manchester United on my FIFA career mode.
Yeah, we have to create him first because he's not even a football player. Okay?
Well, maybe if they sign him, he becomes a football player. And then FIFA, and then it benefits EA Sports as well, doesn't it? I mean, they can put Usain Bolt on there, 99 speed. Everyone would love to play with him. Everyone's all about the fast players on FIFA as well.
Would he be 99 though? Because he didn't actually.
97 or something.
You need to get Gatlin in as the
Maybe they could
champion
put him in
sprinter.
as a classic player, like when they bring in like Pele and they put him in there.
Maybe.
And then you put Usain Bolt in his prime, 2008 or something. We've got some other comments there. We've got Rohan saying, I always love what Peter Staunton says.
Oh, Rohan!
You've got your fanboys on
Thank
here.
you very much.
We've got one saying, what will happen to the other midfielders in Barca this season? What about Rakitic? Will he be bumped out?
You would think eventually, I think he's done his job. When he came into that team, he was sort of seen as a holdover signing. He wasn't signed to be a Barcelona legend or anything like that. And he's had a really good Barcelona career when you think about it. He won the treble in his first season, obviously. And yeah, maybe his time will come. But they do need, Busquets is he's going to be 30 this year. Iniesta is over the hill, still performing when he has to, but he hasn't got many years left in him, let's be honest. Paulinho, again, is a holdover signing. Yeah. So they do need somebody to come in and establish themselves into that midfield. And I think Coutinho's the man to do
You would think so for 140 million quid.
Yeah, you would,
yeah. To come in and establish himself. Thank you to those of you who've watched the show today.
Unless Valverde's going to pull a Guardiola and play him centre-back.
That would be... Can you imagine? I can't imagine that.
Well, strange.
We'll
no.
I'm not sure.
Forget that, I'm only joking.
Thanks to those of you who've watched today. We're going to leave it there. You can keep voting in our user poll on which legend you'd like to sign. You can vote for Ronaldinho, who's Pete's pick. You can vote for Henry, who's my pick. Or you can go for Zidane or Scholes. We'll be back again tomorrow at the same time, so we'll see you then.